The Stoic approach to raising children with wisdom. Parenting is one of the greatest challenges and responsibilities of human life. To raise a child is not merely to provide food, shelter, and education. It is to shape a soul, to help guide a human being into wisdom, strength, and virtue. And yet, in today's world, parenting often feels overwhelming. We're bombarded with advice, surrounded by distractions, and pressured by modern expectations. We want our children to succeed, but we worry whether we're doing enough. We want them to be happy, but we see how fragile happiness can be when tied only to possessions, appearances, or achievements. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and Musonius Rufus, faced the same timeless questions. How do we prepare the next generation for life's hardships? How do we give them the tools to stand firm in a world filled with chaos? How do we love them deeply without becoming enslaved to fear or anxiety? This is where Stoic philosophy shines. Because Stoicism is not abstract, it is a way of living. It teaches us that the greatest gift we can give our children is not wealth, not status, not even knowledge alone, but wisdom, the ability to live in harmony with nature, to master one's desires, to endure hardships with courage, and to find peace within. In this video, we'll explore the Stoic approach to raising children with wisdom. We'll uncover the teachings of ancient Stoics, apply them to modern parenting challenges, and discover practical ways to raise children not just to survive, but to flourish. Stay with me, because by the end of this journey, you'll see that parenting the Stoic way is not about raising perfect children. It's about raising resilient, virtuous human beings. The Stoic principles behind parenting. At the heart of Stoicism is a simple but profound truth. We do not control what happens outside of us. We only control our thoughts, our choices, our actions. As parents, this principle is both humbling and liberating. We cannot control who our children ultimately become. We cannot control every influence in their lives, every trial they face, or every decision they will make. But we can control how we guide them, how we model virtue, and how we prepare them for the challenges of life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is the essence of parenting. Children learn not from lectures, but from example. If you want your child to be honest, you must live honestly. If you want your child to be disciplined, you must show discipline in your daily life. If you want your child to face adversity with courage, you must face your own difficulties with strength and dignity. The Stoics taught 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues become the pillars of parenting. Wisdom, teaching children to see life clearly, without illusions, helping them distinguish between what is within their control and what is not. Courage, preparing them to endure hardship, to stand firm in the face of fear, to take responsibility even when it is difficult. Justice, guiding them to treat others fairly, with kindness, empathy, and respect. Temperance, training them in moderation, helping them resist excess, avoid harmful desires, and find contentment in simplicity. Musonius Rufus, often called the Roman Socrates, was clear about this. Philosophy was not just for scholars or emperors, it was for everyone, including parents and children. He argued that children should be trained from the beginning, not in luxury, but in self-control, resilience, and the pursuit of virtue. And this is the wisdom that must shape our parenting. To raise a child with wisdom is to raise a soul that cannot be enslaved by wealth, corrupted by pleasure, or broken by hardship. But let's be honest, modern parenting feels harder than ever. We're not raising children in the quiet of the ancient world. We're raising them in the age of smartphones, social media, advertising, and constant noise. Children today face temptations and pressures that Marcus Aurelius could never have imagined. From comparison culture on Instagram to consumerism that teaches children their worth is measured by possessions, to academic pressure that tells them success is everything. And as parents, we carry our own burdens. We want to protect our children from pain, but we know we can't shield them from every disappointment. We want them to give them opportunities, but sometimes we confuse that with giving them comfort, which can make them weaker instead of stronger. We want them to be happy, but happiness itself is fragile when it depends only on external things. Here, Stoicism offers clarity. The Stoics remind us life will be hard. Our children will face loss, rejection, failure, and pain. We cannot prevent this, but we can prepare them. Instead of raising children to avoid challenges, we must raise them to face challenges. Instead of teaching them to fear pain, we must teach them to endure pain with courage. Instead of chasing endless comfort for them, we must train them to find peace within themselves. Epictetus put it bluntly, we must not raise our children for luxury, but for hardship. This does not mean cruelty. It means training. Just as athletes strengthen their muscles by resistance, children strengthen their character by challenge. And so, the Stoic parent does not remove obstacles from a child's path. They walk with them as they learn to climb. Stoic love and attachment. One of the hardest lessons for Stoic parents is this: love your children deeply, but love them wisely. The Stoics loved their children no less than we do today. Marcus Aurelius grieved the deaths of several of his children. Seneca wrote tenderly about family. Yet they also understood the danger of clinging too tightly. Why? Because children, like everything in life, are not truly ours. They are entrusted to us for a time, but they are independent souls, subject to the same laws of fate and mortality as all humans. Epictetus warned his students, when you kiss your child, say to yourself, tomorrow you may die. This sounds harsh to modern ears, but his point was not to love less. It was to love more wisely, without illusion, to love without attachment, without fear, without the desperate need to control. When you recognize that your child is mortal, that they are free, that they are not yours, but their own person, your love becomes purer. You no longer love with chains of control, but with freedom and gratitude. Every hug, every laugh, every shared moment becomes a gift, not an entitlement. This kind of Stoic love makes parents stronger, not weaker, because instead of being consumed by anxiety, what if I lose them, you focus on cherishing them in the present. And instead of trying to mold them into your own image, you help them grow into themselves. Teaching by example. Words are cheap. Actions are priceless. Every parent knows that children imitate more than they obey. You can lecture them about honesty, but if they see you lying, they will lie. You can tell them to be disciplined, but if they see you indulge every desire, they will follow. This is why Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself of the example of his father and teachers. He listed the virtues he saw in them: patience, dignity, humility, kindness. He did not admire their speeches, he admired their conduct. For Stoic parents, this is the ultimate responsibility, to live the virtues we want to see in our children. Want your child to be calm? Then master your temper. Want them to value wisdom? Then read, reflect, and practice philosophy yourself. Want them to respect others? Then treat people with respect, no matter their status. Seneca wrote, Long is the way through precepts, but short and effective through examples. Your life is your child's textbook. Your daily habits are their lessons. Practical Stoic practices for parenting. Let's get practical. How do we apply Stoicism to parenting in daily life? Here are 5 Stoic practices parents can use. 1. Negative visualization. Teach children to imagine loss, not to scare them, but to build gratitude. Ask, what if we didn't have this toy, this home, this meal? Then help them see the value of what they already possess. This practice turns entitlement into thankfulness. 2. Voluntary discomfort. Just as Seneca slept on hard beds and ate plain food, teach children resilience by practicing simplicity. Skip luxuries sometimes. Walk instead of drive. Eat simple meals. Show them that happiness does not depend on excess. 3. The pause before reaction. When conflict arises, siblings fighting, emotions boiling, teach the art of the pause. Breathe, reflect, then act. This practice trains emotional discipline, which is more valuable than any skill. 4. Journaling and reflection. Encourage children, especially older ones, to reflect on their day. What went well? What challenged them? What did they learn? This practice, central to Marcus Aurelius' meditations, helps them grow in self-awareness. 5. Living in accord with nature. Take children outside. Teach them to observe trees, rivers, stars. Show them that beauty does not come from screens, but from the order of the natural world. This grounds them in perspective and simplicity. Stoic responses to common parenting challenges. When children fail, don't rescue them immediately. Let them feel the weight of failure, then help them reflect on what can be learned. Failure is a teacher, not an enemy. When children misbehave, instead of shouting, guide with calm firmness. Anger teaches fear, but calm discipline teaches respect. When children compare themselves to others, remind them of Epictetus' wisdom. Value what is in your control, not what belongs to others. Help them focus on effort, not outcomes. When children face cruelty from others, teach them Marcus Aurelius' reminder that people act from ignorance, not malice. Encourage them to respond with patience, not hatred. When children demand more, use it as a lesson in temperance. Help them see that craving more never ends, but gratitude brings peace. In each of these, the Stoic parent does not react emotionally, they guide philosophically. Stoic perspective on the goal of parenting. What is the true goal of parenting? For many today, it is success, good grades, a good job, a good life. But Stoics aimed higher. The goal was not success, it was virtue. Marcus Aurelius never prayed for his children to be spared hardship. He prayed for them to be good, strong, and wise. Seneca never said the goal of life was comfort, he said the goal was character. As parents, this is a challenge to us. Are we raising children to chase wealth and status, or to live with justice, courage, wisdom, and temperance? The Stoic goal of parenting is this: raise a child who can live with freedom of soul, who is not enslaved by fear, who is not corrupted by pleasure, who can walk through life with dignity and peace. That is success beyond all worldly measures. Raising children with wisdom. Parenting will never be easy. It wasn't easy for Marcus Aurelius, who lost children to sickness. It wasn't easy for Seneca, who lived under tyrants. It wasn't easy for Epictetus, who began life as a slave. But Stoicism gives us a compass. It reminds us that children are not clay to be molded into our image, they are souls to be guided toward virtue. It reminds us that our example matters more than our lectures. It reminds us that love must be free, not chained to fear. It reminds us that preparing children for hardship is the greatest act of love. So let us raise children with wisdom. Let us teach them to value virtue over possessions, strength over comfort, and peace of mind over status. Let us raise not just successful adults, but resilient, courageous, compassionate human beings. Because in the end, the world does not need more children who are rich, famous, or powerful. The world needs children who are wise, and that begins with us. If this message resonated with you, subscribe and follow for more weekly insights into Stoicism, the philosophy of resilience, clarity, and inner strength. Because raising children with wisdom is not just about preparing them for life, it is about preparing them to live well.